Across the country, ordinary Americans from all walks of life are taking whatever measures necessary to prepare.
I'm preparing for a global earthquake.
An electromagnetic pulse.
Total economic collapse.
Terrorist attack.
Catastrophic tsunami.
And protect themselves.
Pounce on the prey.
From what they perceive is the fast-approaching end of the world as we know it.
You are the most stubborn son of a bitch I've ever met in my life. I swear to God.
Next, we go inside the lives of 3 committed preppers who have devised extensive plans.
It's beautiful. Since I've never had one of these in my hand, how do I aim this?
Gone to great lengths.
This is kind of a high-traffic area. I think we should go all the way vertical.
Yeah, they happen.
And made huge personal sacrifices to ensure their very survival.
Either one of you currently have any addictions?
The experts will assess their preps to see if they have what it takes.
Holy water, that's big!
To survive.
Let's get everything loaded.
It's just all a bit over the top for me.
Organic Nursery. You're tuned into an all-organic gardening show that focuses on things that you can do to be more self-sufficient and being more dependent on yourself and less dependent on the world around you.
Lindsay is the co-host of a radio show in Boise, Idaho, about organic gardening and the Back to the Land movement.
Today we're talking about food preservation.
She and her husband, Ray, pride themselves on their urban homesteading lifestyle. But Ray and Lindsay aren't homesteading just for nutritional or environmental benefits. Getting back to the land is their key to survival if the world as we know it ends.
We're preparing for the collapse
Of the world's agricultural system.
What people don't realize is that a lot of preppers are people like us. We're everyday business owners. We run very normal lives. My daughter goes to gymnastics. I take her to school every day. Back in the day, everybody was prepared because they weren't so reliant on other people to make sure their lives work. So preppers today are really like how our ancestors used to be, smart.
In 2012, the United States saw one of the worst droughts since the 1930s Dust Bowl, and the hottest year ever recorded in U.S. history. Nearly 80% of the country's agricultural land was affected, and soybean and corn prices were at record-breaking highs. Ray and Lindsay weren't surprised.
The collapse of the world agricultural system is happening now. In the Midwest, we're having mass amounts of drought. Climate change is changing the way that farmers are able to reliably produce their food. People are severely detached from the food system. Nobody knows how to farm. For the most part, we've got a whole bunch of city dwellers that are dependent on a very small population of farmers to keep them alive. And if those farmers aren't able to deliver that food to the table, people are going to panic and not be able to eat and feed their families.
If the world's agricultural system collapses, Lindsay's convinced only those capable of producing their own food will be able to survive. So she actively encourages her entire community to ready themselves through her weekly call-in radio show on sustainable living.
Hi. If the food supply chain collapses, how quickly could we run out, and what should I be doing to prepare?
3 days worth of food is all we have if all of a sudden we just stopped supplying our supermarkets. After that, you're on your own. Even if it's a small disruption, it could really turn into a lot of chaos. If you've got your own garden and if you've got your own ability to store and prepare food, then it's not going to affect you that much.
While Lindsay concentrates on spreading her message, her husband Ray, a former Marine, sees a darker potential consequence of rampant food shortages.
I don't think I'm paranoid. I just think I'm well-informed and prepared. My greatest fear will be the rioting, the looting, as we've seen in other disasters across the country and across the world. The police will all go home, the firefighters will all go home, there will be places ablaze. And before it ever gets to that point, my family and I will bug out to our location.
To escape the mobs of hungry people they fear, Ray and Lindsay plan to flee the city and head off the grid to a secret location deep in the Idaho mountains.
My bug out location is surrounded by national forest. It has 2 streams on property with a deep well. It has cabins that are made up of the wood that we cut on our own land. We have security systems, whether it be multiple guns, ammunition, communication systems, whether it be VHF, ham radio, portable walkie-talkies. We have everything that we need to survive.
Ray and Lindsay have 4 years of food waiting for them at their bug-out location. They keep more hidden in plain sight at home. To many, their backyard might look like every other in the neighborhood, but every tree and shrub serves a prepper purpose.
We've basically turned our entire landscape into something edible. Veggies, from zucchini and tomatoes. We have fruit trees of all kinds, and then we have grapes and blackberries.
Lindsay and Ray's home only has about 4 acres of land for growing food. So far, they've crammed several hundred edible plants into their backyard. To preserve it and prepare it for bugging out, Lindsay cans as much of what they grow as possible.
I do a lot of my own canning, so I can my own garden vegetables. I buy things in season and can them, dehydrate them, do things that'll make them last longer. And these are all things that'll sustain us through, several years.
Like his wife, Ray believes most people won't be prepared for a global agricultural collapse. But he's concerned many in their area will look to them for salvation.
I'm constantly told by my friends, if the shit ever hits the fan, we're gonna come looking for you because we know that you're prepared. Well, the hard truth is, when the shit hits the fan, I'm not gonna be able to support you and your family. You need to have your own preparations.
If any unwanted visitors refuse to take no for an answer, Ray's prepared to do whatever it takes to defend what's his.
There's nothing that I wouldn't do to protect my family in any kind of doomsday scenario. I could totally sleep tomorrow night if I had to use force, deadly force, to prevent people from taking food out of my family's mouth. I have multiple weapons with various calibers. As a United States Marine, I have absolutely no doubt in my ability to hit what I am firing upon.
As a Marine, Ray was taught that teamwork is the key to successful operations. So he's been fortifying his survival plan by recruiting other able-bodied men and women to join his team of preppers.
I have a team of people for my bug-out location because I can't do everything myself.
Tonight, Ray's gathered his team to interview 2 new candidates.
The 2 new prospective members to our team are currently active duty United States military personnel, so it is imperative for operational security of our retreat that we do not reveal their identity at this time. We realize you guys have weapons and guard duty experience, but do you have any other relevant experience that you can tell us about?
I think the both of us have extremely high proficient outdoor type skills, so anything from actually working with the crops to going out and hunting to gather food, we can definitely bring to the table.
And also, as long as I can remember, I've had a hand in gardens and fields around the farms, so I feel really confident that I could be a lot of help in food production for the group. Growing up, learning to hunt and learning to care for crops, I'm very certain I'll be an asset to this crew.
Are either one of you currently on medications, have prescription eyeglasses, or have any addictions?
We have no addictions, no problems like that, but I do have prescription glasses.
Okay.
I'd like to be a part of Ray's crew because I'd like to take care of my family if in the event something were to happen.
Ray's next step is to test his new recruits to see what they're made of. But when he puts them in action and under stress, there's no telling what they may do.
Get on the ground now!
Lindsay and Ray fear that following a global agricultural collapse, supermarket shelves will be bare in just 3 days. But it's what happens on day 4 that they fear most.
Once people start to realize that the food is not going to be restocked on the shelves, panic will start happening. People will do what they have to do to feed themselves, which will be including looting, breaking into people's houses, becoming violent.
To protect themselves and the 4 years' worth of food they've secured at their bug-out location in the mountains of Idaho, Lindsay and Ray are looking to recruit new members for their prepper security force.
I got 2 new prospective members that I want to test to see if they're meet the standards what it takes to be a part of this group.
Ray's admissions test includes 3 parts: the interview, teamwork drill, and response to a threatening situation. He'll be judging each potential member's speed, tactical skills, and ability to take orders and work with the group. If they disappoint him in any of these respects, they're out.
All right, you guys, we need to bug out. Let's get everything loaded. Come on, we might be running out of time. I don't want anybody to see this. We want to make sure we're fully loaded before anybody catches on that we're loading up. We got our clothes, we got the medicines, first aid kits, tools, we got excess plants and seeds, hand radios, bug out bags, vitamins, nursery items, sewing supplies, towels, books, guns, ammo. If anybody hears anything that we haven't got packed, let me know.
Someone help me lift this. Let's get this thing closed up.
You 2 get in the flatbed. Lindsay and Allison, let's load up in the wagon. Come on, Henry, get in.
All right, Allison, get in the back, honey.
With their full supply of preps loaded within 10 minutes, the team heads 1 hour away to Ray and Lindsay's bug-out location deep in the Idaho mountains. For the 3rd part of their admissions test, the new recruits will be on their own. And Ray's last challenge for them is one they won't see coming. He's instructing them to secure the area, but he's not telling them that somewhere between the truck and the compound, he's hidden an occupying force.
I need you 2 to go up to the top of the camp and make sure it's secure for us to occupy.
Roger.
2-person patrols often move back to back so that they can scan a full 360 degrees around themselves. When breaching a building, surprise and speed are essential. Soldiers are taught to dominate the room by quickly moving to positions of control that allow for clear shots.
Get over here now! Put your hands behind your back.
Clear. We got him.
Ray's impressed that the candidates didn't let their guard down or hesitate when they encountered a threat as they breached the door.
The 2 new members have passed the test. Welcome to the camp and the group. We're 100% committed to protecting what is ours and survive any disaster that may come our way. So once again, welcome.
All right, welcome.
Guys, good to have you.
People are under the illusion that we have so much food all around us and we're in this wonderful modern age, and all I can say is that you're wrong. There is so much fragility in our system and it could collapse at any time. These things are just time bombs waiting to happen, and it will happen.
At the end of the day, the question might be, when the big trucks stop rolling, is how much food are you holding?
Ray and Lindsay, the experts at Practical Preppers, have reviewed your preps. Your 4-year supply of food will give you a huge advantage in trying to survive a crisis. However, 50 gallons of stored water would only last your survival group less than a week. You should be storing more water.
We don't need to store much water because we have surface water at our bug-out location and a well at our bug-out location.
Your security plan is strong, but you should also consider constructing a safe room so that you can keep your supplies secured.
At both our bug-out location and our home location, we have areas that we would consider to be our safe rooms.
To determine how long you could initially survive a catastrophe, Practical Preppers has scored your preps in 5 categories of 20 points each for a total possible score of 100. Your renewable food sources are excellent, 19 out of 20 points. Water, 12 out of 20 points. Shelter, 16 out of 20 points. Security, 16 out of 20 points. Working towards survival as a group gives you 15 X-Factor points. Your total score is 78 out of 100. You have 15 months initial survival time.
That's a pretty good score, but whoever has graded us hasn't really seen the extent of our preparedness, and if they did, they would see that it is, in fact, quite a bit more extensive than what can be shown on TV.
Due to severe drought across the Midwest, the USDA warned that food costs could continue to rise between 3 and 4% in 2013. Experts, however, do not anticipate a catastrophic food shortage to occur. For most preppers, a bug-out vehicle is a crucial part of their plan for facing doomsday. But for Jim D., his bug-out vehicle is the whole plan. He doesn't intend to run away from doomsday. He intends to run it over in his custom-built bug-out truck that he calls the Behemoth. Jim D. is a security consultant and proud father living in the Orange County area of Southern California. A motorcycle enthusiast, Jim used to spend his free time working on his Harley Davidson. But lately, he's been under the hood of something bigger, something badder, something he's built to survive doomsday that he calls the Behemoth.
I'm preparing for the destruction of the power grid from a terrorist attack and the social unrest that will follow.
Every year, cyber attacks on their computer systems that run the country's infrastructure get stronger, more aggressive, and hit more often. A government official has even warned of a cyber Pearl Harbor that could take down the country's financial networks, government services, and even the power grid. Jim fears that this type of attack could plunge the U.S. into a new dark age.
We've become completely dependent on the power grid. As soon as the power goes out, the stoplights don't work, and the gas pumps don't pump, and the cash registers aren't on, and the electric doors don't open, and the ATMs don't give any money. There's no power, there's no refrigeration, there's no pumps to pump the water in, there's no pumps to pump the septic out. When people get hungry or thirsty, they start to act erratic and start to do things that are not normal. And when people become desperate, it becomes even worse. My strategy is to be very mobile. We built a all-wheel drive 13-ton truck that has a camper with 300 gallons of fuel, 150 gallons of water, solar power, gas, generators, battery banks, armored command center, you name it. It's designed for extended deployment of multiple people where you could sustain a lot of lives for a long period of time.
Jim spent close to $300,000 striving to turn a 1980 Chevy truck into his ultimate bug-out vehicle.
The engine was designed to be able to withstand a solar flare, EMP, any electrical event, because there's nothing on it to fail.
Half-inch thick armor plating, flame-retardant military-grade spray paint, 28 feet long, 11 feet high, and 8 feet wide. Jim's mobile prepper powerhouse lives up to its name, the Behemoth. With more than 4 million miles of road in the U.S. and no plan to stay put for long, Jim views life after doomsday as a marathon, not a sprint. And he's taken steps to ensure the Behemoth will never run out of gas.
We can run it on gasoline or propane. We've got 150 gallons of propane, 150 gallons of gas. It's got enough fuel to leave from Southern California and make it to Nova Scotia or Costa Rica or anywhere, in between. So we can keep it moving for a long, long period of time.
Even with only 500 cubic feet of living space, Jim believes he's built the Behemoth large enough for it to serve as a rolling safe house for all his family and friends.
The Survivor truck can take 15 people without being over capacity. There's nothing more valuable than my family to me. And whatever it takes to keep them safe is what I have to do. As a husband and as a father, it is my responsibility. I have a small group of people that we've decided to rely on one another, and we're gonna meet up and we're all gonna go together.
For Jim, the behemoth's most important cargo will be his daughter, Michelle. But for Michelle, the idea of one day having to live in a truck has just been one of her dad's wacky ideas.
Holy water, that's big!
Until today.
Come on, let's go. I want to show you the inside. Look at the bedding that Mommy did. Isn't that amazing?
Yep. Which one's my bed?
This one's your bed right here, honey. It's actually bigger than your bed in the house. That bed up there is for Mommy and I. There's a refrigerator and a stove and all sorts of stuff. We can stay in this for a long time.
Jim wants the behemoth to be more than just a battle wagon. He wants it to be a second home. But he believes cyber-terrorist attacks could turn the U.S. into a nation of panicked, violent mobs, desperate to take from him his fortress on wheels. So he spent more than $60,000 installing 7 high-definition surveillance cameras.
Chad. Michelle, good to see you. Chad helped us. He put all the cameras in there, and we're gonna go into the command center, and he's gonna show you how they work, all right?
Okay. What does all this stuff do?
Well, what we've done, Michelle, is we've put cameras all the way around the truck. We've got a camera in the front, cameras on the sides, and cameras in the back that look close to a couple hundred feet out, being able to see anybody that's in close proximity to the truck. We can see a full 180 degrees, so you'd know if somebody was outside that door. Let's show off what this can do. Let's send your dad as far away as we possibly can and see if we can figure out what he's doing. Hey, Jim, are you out there?
I'm here.
All right, we're gonna see if we can find you. That looks like him.
How many fingers am I holding up?
2.
Even though Jim's confident his cameras can spot a potential threat 2 miles away, he believes that whether or not his family survives that threat could depend on how he responds. So tomorrow, he's going to put the behemoth's security systems and his own weapons training to the test. Jim D. fears cyber-terrorists could disable the power grid, hurling the U.S. into chaos and turning Americans into violent, desperate mobs. So to ensure he can escape hostile areas with his family and friends, he's built the ultimate survivor truck, the Behemoth. Orange County, California has more than a dozen major highways. But Jim fears he could face massive gridlock in the panic following catastrophic cyber-terrorist attacks. So since he can't predict which escape route he might need to take, he has multiple bug-out locations spread all across the Southwest.
We've been looking around trying to figure out where to go based on escape routes throughout Southern California.
For the last 2 years, he's been burying supply caches at secret locations between 2 and 100 miles from his home.
We have multiple cache systems distributed all over the country. They're easy to get to, depending on whether we have to go north, south, or east. You have to have something that's pre-staged if you just have to pick up and go.
Today, Jim's showing his prepping partner Ashley, who helped him design and build the Behemoth, what goes into assembling his caches. PVC pipes lined with a special material that Jim says eliminates magnetic signatures to shield them from metal detectors.
We're gonna start with the heavy stuff first. Flashlight.
Take the bare necessities, weapons, ammunition, flashlight kind of stuff. Just enough to get by, some food bars, just sea rations and some water, a radio, medical stuff, just basic stuff. Actually, let's put that Glock in there too. Clear? Clear. We are good.
Jim's taking the Behemoth out to bury a new cache of supplies. With a clearance of almost 2 feet, the Behemoth can go where standard pickups can't. So Jim's heading for a remote location deep in the mountains. But before he buries his cache, his first goal is to make the Behemoth disappear.
The truck has a fully deployable thermal-regulated camo net system that you put it out and it just turns you into a mound and you don't create a heat signature.
Jim's camo netting is designed to dissipate heat so that anything underneath it remains hidden from thermal imaging cameras and even heat-seeking missiles.
We're essentially invisible to the naked eye, to night vision, and to thermal imaging.
By the time Jim deploys the camo, it's almost too dark to see, but that's part of his plan.
The reason that we do this at night, obviously, because it's much more difficult to see people at long range in the dark. During the day, you can, with a spotting scope, you can see well over 1,000 yards. There could be people anywhere watching what you do.
Jim buries his 3-foot-long caches vertically to reduce their surface area at ground level, making them harder to find.
You bury it in the ground, and you mark it with a GPS, and you walk it off, and you map it. Basically, you have enough supplies to sustain yourself for probably 60 days.
That looks good.
With a family of 4 to 6 people, just in one cache. My philosophy has always been better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. You know, I want to be ready.
In the event of a power grid shutdown and the chaos that follows, Jim worries that the behemoth might become an enticing target for desperate marauders. So he and Ashley have been training to defend the behemoth from attackers.
Advance.
But shooting while on the move from the custom sniper platform he built on the roof requires a completely different set of skills that Jim's never practiced until today.
You have to compensate for the up and down movement, the left and right movement of the sway, factor in the movement of the vehicle, the distance of the target, and the speed of the bullet. It's a lot to think about in a very, very short amount of time.
The challenges of shooting while on the move significantly affect Jim's accuracy. Instead of kill shots, this time he hits mostly desert sand.
Yeah, I got 2 more up here.
Boom, 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 boom.
It's not the motion of the movement, it's the up and down from the uneven ground. It's brutal.
Jim believes that with practice, he and the behemoth will be able to take on any rioters and looters should cyber terrorists succeed in destroying American society.
In order to be healthy and happy, that you have to be able to provide for yourself. It feels good to have a plan. It feels good to know that your family's going to be safe. I have the mental capacity, I have the desire to survive, and I have a spiritual center. I know that I'm going to be okay no matter what.
Jim, the experts at Practical Preppers have assessed your preps. You have an impressive bug-out vehicle with high-tech communications, but you need a food resupply plan and reliable access to water.
We have over or almost 2 years worth of freeze-dried food. We can supplement that with hunting, fishing, and growing food. Everywhere we go, there's a water source within 10 miles. We'll be fine.
To determine how long you could initially survive a catastrophe, Practical Preppers has scored your preps in 5 categories of 20 points each for a total possible score of 100. Food, 12 out of 20 points. Water, 13 out of 20 points. Shelter, 12 out of 20 points. Security, 15 out of 20 points. Your special bug-out vehicle will allow you easier access to a safe location, 13 X-Factor points. Overall, you get a 65 out of 100. You have 10 months initial survival time.
Well, I disagree. We're gonna make it no matter what. I'm gonna last forever.
The Department of Homeland Security currently considers cyber terrorism to be a top security challenge. However, power companies are devoting tremendous resources to stopping cyber threats, and the electric grid has backup systems that will allow power to be restored quickly if the grid comes under cyber attack. Amanda and Scott Bobbin recently bought their dream home. With 51 rooms and breathtaking views, it seemed too good to be true. But their new house came with something unexpected. Something otherworldly.
Oh, she's back again.
They say a voice from the grave is telling them to become preppers or die. On a mountaintop in Waynesville, North Carolina, Atop 30 acres of land, Amanda and Scott Bobbin live in a 51-room, 8,500 square foot house.
We named the house Paragon Jewel, which means perfect jewel. And we believe actually that it is paradise. But it is a very unique and unusual house.
The things in this house are strange to us, not things that we're used to. Everything that we could possibly want in the future, if something would happen, is here already.
It's a prepper's paradise. A safe haven for people to come and join us after a comet will hit the planet. Oh, she's back again.
One year ago, the Bobbins didn't give much thought to doomsday theories. In fact, they'd never even heard of prepping. They were living in Florida when they say they were warned about the end of the world by a voice from beyond, which would come to be known as Greta.
Amanda and I lived in Florida, and she received a message, a vibration, whatever you'd like to call it. We often get them when we sleep.
It comes through my mind. The message that I received was it's time to leave Florida, and that it was very important for us to live at 3,000 feet or above.
They say Greta urged them to move 3,000 feet above sea level so they could survive a comet colliding with the Earth, destroying life across the globe.
We sold the house and went to the mountains.
The Bobbins' hunt for a new home led them to the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina and the Paragon Jewel.
Amanda walked into the door about 15 feet. She turned around and said to me, "This is where we're gonna live." We're located 3,000 feet above sea level here. It should be one of the safest places on the entire planet, and that's why we've been brought here.
They bought the Paragon Jewel and discovered their new home came with 2 5,000-gallon water tanks, solar panels, and even a ham radio tower. But the deeper they delved into Paragon Jewel's hidden recesses, the more bizarre their new home seemed.
We found huge quantities of supplies, soap, toilet paper, gas masks.
There are things for dehydrating, instructions to create gardens that attract game animals. They had enough clothing upstairs in the attic to clothe 100 people.
Amanda believes her mysterious voice is Paragon Jewel's former owner, a woman named Greta, who had already been dead for 2 years. The Bobbins believe Greta assembled all this in the hope survivors of the comet could find safe haven with her, high in the Smoky Mountains. And now, they believe she wants Amanda and Scott to continue her work.
Amanda and I are very confident that we were guided to this house for a specific purpose. We believe the house chose us to deal with what Greta had started here. We believe that as we go down the road here, Greta will instruct us on what to do next. Amanda has been in contact with her through channeling.
Amanda says Greta makes her wishes known by taking control of Amanda's body to write out her instructions. But Amanda never knows when Greta is going to take over.
I'm shaking, I'm sorry, that's not me either. I don't have any control over this. Greta has come through me and sent a message about what she expects us to do and what she expects the role of the program to be. So I have just written her words, not my words, her words. It's called automatic writing. I put so much love and care into making it a safe haven for people to come to when it will be necessary. You must carry on my work. Open your doors to people who need you. Oh, she's back again. She's saying that Scott and I have to continue that work, working with our hands, being able to help a lot of people because a situation is coming.
Amanda's sons, Johnny and Christopher, often visit their mother from Ireland. But this is their first visit since Amanda and Scott became preppers. And they haven't yet been told the whole story about Greta, comets, or prepping.
Chris, want to have a whack here?
No, I'm okay.
A guy came in, something to do with the solar panels.
It is quite an unusual place, and they've done a lot of work getting it in shape because it requires a lot of upkeep.
The boys also don't know that if a comet blasts humanity to the brink of extinction, their mother and Scott plan to open Paragon Jewel's doors to every survivor who comes to them seeking help. And some of the first people they expect to take in are their neighbors.
Scott and Amanda have told us a little bit about this house and the background of it, and they've talked a little bit about some of the preparations they want to do to have it better prepared.
Their neighbors aren't preppers, but they know Scott and Amanda are starting to prep, so they're bringing Scott a present to help them on their way.
Oh my goodness.
So, we got you a nice, brand new 12-gauge pump-action shotgun. It'll take anything from big game to small game, and will also help you defend your house. You definitely need one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's unloaded right now.
Good. Beautiful. Even camouflage.
Don't point it at my mom.
I know, she's so nervous.
With her son still unaware of their new prepping lifestyle, Amanda realizes that the gift of a firearm is something that will require an explanation.
I watched Christopher's reaction when the gun was handed over. He seems a little distressed. I'll go and talk to him.
She believes the time has come to tell them about the comet so that the boys can begin helping them prepare.
So guys, we need to talk to you two about something and everybody else can just enjoy themselves.
But nothing can prepare them for how Christopher reacts.
I'm not prepping for anything.
For the last 2 months, Scott and Amanda Bobbin have been prepping for a comet to strike the Earth. But Amanda hasn't told her son, Christopher, their plan yet.
We are going to reveal to Christopher that we have become preppers and see what his reaction is.
We moved into this house, and after we got here, we started finding all these things in the house that were very unusual.
Supplies. We were guided here and to continue the work of Greta. She expected a comet to come in and hit the Earth.
So we have become preppers.
Scientists would be able to predict something like that. It's not just going to come up out of the blue. I just can't see anything happening. I don't know, it's just all a bit over the top for me.
Isn't it better to be prepared?
Well, I can't see any reason why people would just almost dedicate their lives to trying to avoid something.
What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, well, I think prepping's a good idea for in case of a storm or something.
Don't really understand it, to be honest. I just don't know why anything would happen. I don't think anything will happen.
I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. But it doesn't hurt just to be prepared a little. This has been a shock to him, but hopefully he will get some experience and have a different view.
Today, Scott's received a gift, his first security prep. He's ready to begin practicing defensive prepping and hopes both boys will follow his lead.
So this is our basic pump-action shotgun, our 12-gauge.
Since I've never had one of these in my hand, how do I aim this?
Make sure you're aiming straight down and you always know what you're aiming at.
Some preppers prefer the 12-gauge pump-action shotgun, in part because they believe just the sound of a shell being chambered can be intimidating enough to stop an intruder.
The safety is on?
Safety is off right now.
Oh, the safety is off right now.
Yes.
After I shuck it, is that how you're saying that?
Do you want to practice just pulling it back and forward a couple of times?
And I push this down?
You tell us when you're ready. I mean, this is for real.
This is for real.
Okay, so make sure you know where you're aiming. Nice shot.
That was brilliant. That was absolutely fabulous. How did you do that? Thought you haven't done this before.
14-year-old Johnny is as eager as his parents to prep for chaos following a comet strike.
I think prepping's a good idea. If something bad happens, you don't have to be worried about going out.
But 16-year-old Christopher is not as enthusiastic.
He does not believe that self-reliance is that important. Chris, you're gonna shoot? Why don't you give it a shot? Come on, it was easy.
I'm not really interested, really. Accidents could be caused. These firearms are lethal. I don't really get too involved because I just can't see anything happening.
Christopher is extremely intelligent and likes to use his brain more than his brawn. He's talented, but a little reluctant to do certain things.
Christopher won't shoot, but Amanda and Scott still want him to take an active role in their prepping.
Put your gloves on. We don't know. I don't think anybody's been in here in 25 years.
So they're drafting him and Johnny to help them inventory the supplies Greta left behind in Paragon Jewel's shed.
Let Mom keep the official count, and we'll just kind of go around the room and see what we've got in here. What's in this one over here?
Oats.
We've got at least 10 oats, Amanda.
I've got wheat over here.
There's wheat, more wheat.
What do you got down below there?
Wheat.
See what's back in here.
That's wheat.
Greta left behind what could be hundreds of gallons of wheat grains, a staple that humans have depended on for thousands of years. Each 5-gallon bucket was nitrogen sealed to remove any oxygen, so it's protected from insects and bacteria and has a longer shelf life. But Christopher doesn't believe any of it will be necessary.
I really don't see the point of this. I mean, if a comet or a meteor hits the Earth and we cannot stay in the house, don't you think the land and everything is just going to be destroyed?
Well,
so
I think
what makes this place safe?
I think it depends on where it hits at. If it hits on the other side of the world...
I don't think anything's going to happen, so I think I'm going to leave. I'm out of here. I'm away to watch TV.
Christopher.
I'm not prepping for anything.
I understand he doesn't think that we are rational at all, so maybe the next time he'll come in.
Christopher's 16. It doesn't matter what advice he gets, he's 16 years old. Somewhere along the way, he will realize how important this is.
Christopher and Johnny will soon be returning home to Ireland. Amanda and Scott hope that with time, both boys will come to accept the prepper lifestyle. But for now, getting ready for a potential combat impact poses its own set of challenges.
Amanda and I have been only prepping about 2 months. That's it. We are brand new preppers. We know we have a lot of learning and to learn how to use a lot of the things that have already been prepared here for us. There are family members who are very skeptical of what's going on, but we are very comfortable and confident that we'll be prepared when the time comes.
Scott and Amanda, the experts, practical preppers, have reviewed your preps. You live in a geographically safe location and have a good amount of supplies. You've taken the right step in creating a network by opening your doors to your neighbors. However, you need to do more to secure your property. Consider a security system, cameras, and defense training.
I would agree with everything that you have said and reported.
To determine how long you could initially survive a catastrophe, Practical Preppers has scored your preps in 5 categories of 20 points each, for a total possible score of 100. Food, 16 out of 20 points. Water, 17 out of 20 points. Shelter, 19 out of 20 points. Security, 5 out of 20 points. Your large house and ability to take in others will give you strength in numbers. This gives you 8 X-Factor points. Your total survival score is 65 out of 100. You have 10 months initial survival time.
I believe we need to seriously increase the defense and security aspect. That seems to be our weakest point. We've improved our gun awareness, security system, and we're collecting rainwater in our pool.
It is no coincidence that we have found each other and now find ourselves here at Paragon Jewel. I really believe our adventure is only just beginning.
Both NASA and the United Nations have departments that identify and catalog potentially threatening comets and asteroids. Of the more than 9,500 near-Earth objects NASA has discovered so far, none is currently considered likely to collide with Earth in the next 100 years.